Hey, what's up YouTube? Paul the Technical here. So tonight I'm going to give you guys the basic rundowns of, let's say you want to become a furnace repairman. I'm going to give you the basic rundowns of all the parts and pieces and how they operate. I'm not going to do it tonight, but stay tuned. I'm going to rebuild this actual furnace all the way, and we're going to get it back corrected as it should be. Before I go to that, before I get to doing that, I want to give a special shout out, to Makita Drills, making the dream happen, They're great drills, brushless. There's something that you'll want to invest in. Also, Ryobi has the best set out there for the affordable price. With these tools here, especially when you're dealing with furnaces, you're gonna need a lot of these guys here. That's something that you want to have. Another thing, special shout out to my favorite people in the whole wide world, Pepsi. You know what I mean? I love these things. I'm always drinking Pepsi. I'll set that down now. Keep going here. You want to have you something like this. This is a special secret tool. I don't see too many people using them, but this is extender. Actually, this has its own name in my toolbox. Matter of fact, it is a special tool that I use very often. You'll see that later on in the Goodman furnace videos. I happen to not have one right at the moment, but this one is also of use in this particular furnace too, this is an old furnace. I don't know if you can see up in there, but when there's two screws on each side. There's one right there. Oh no, I'm trying to get it to where you guys can see it. There's one right there, and then there's another one on the other side up in there. But that is the two screws that remove your fan motor, which is back in here. We'll get all into that here in a minute in the video. Also another one, UEI Instruments, very good stuff. This is a voltage meter. It's pretty nice. This thing does everything. It even has settings on here for temperature. If you ever want to get you a temperature gauge, we'll be doing some of those videos with this very special piece in the summer once it's AC season. And again, this video is basics of what to know about in a furnace. I'm going to break you guys down from how it starts to how it should end. Now there is a piece missing on this one because I've taken it out, and yeah, as you can see it's over there. That's gonna be the gas valve for it. I'm actually gonna put that back in here in a little bit. We'll do that in our rebuild video, but it's out of the furnace, but I'll explain to you guys exactly how it works and what position it plays into the furnace igniting and firing. Okay guys, well, I've gotten all that out. Remember those special tools there? I'm gonna show them to you again. These are your basic common tools. These will actually get you through a furnace pretty quick. They'll keep people warm in the winter. So now on to the next. All right, so first order of operation. To get this guy to work, you need to have this guy here. This is what you call your, shit, get that out of the way there. Sorry about that. This is your transformer. Your transformer is which converts 120 volts into 24 volts, which is runs here on the board. That is so your gas valve over here. Sorry for the Christmas tree. Christmas is coming. That gas valve there, if there's 120 volts running to that, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near it. It may not be good. But that is your converter that converts your power down so it can, allow the gas valve to open and close to expel gas into the chambers, which are listed here. Okay, so the sequence of this furnace is, to even get this thing to start up, the first thing you have to do is have power. Your power usually is located in a little box on the side of it. I recommend that you have a service switch with a fusible link, just in case anything goes wrong. I wouldn't want to hook this thing up without that. It's not safe. Anything can happen. This is natural gas we're talking about. Some LP conversions are propane, which will be worse than natural gas. I would be sure that I do not, go without a service safety switch. It's just one thing that I wouldn't do. Okay, now on to the next. You gotta have your power. You gotta have your front, your doors, because there's going to be this little guy here. This is your safety switch. That means if you pull your door off at the bottom, which is where majority of your high voltage electrical components, not all, but majority, are down here. This makes sure that if you're going inside of this thing, you're not going to get electrocuted. So you want to make sure that you have this hooked up and it is working correctly. If not, you may be in a little bit of trouble. We'll do further videos on that in the future. Okay, now that's going to convert the power to this guy, which is, we already explained that, that's your transformer. So with this being powered up, what will happen here is anytime you hook your thermostat up, let's say you call for heat, your wires will be here. That's where your thermostat wires go. This guy here gets the signal, transfers, bam, there we go. So now your furnace is getting ready to start up. It runs through these little guys down here, which are brain box. I can't really begin to tell you exactly what those do all the way. I know they're the sequencers, basically. So you kind of, let's see if you can see those here. That's your plan of action there. It runs through those sequencers. Once it runs through the sequencers, you'll hear 2 to 3 clicks. After you hear 2 to 3 clicks, this guy right here, if we're calling for heat, which is the inducer motor, it will cut on. And once it cuts on, it should spin counterclockwise. That is so the air, or however you want to say it, exhaust, expels out of the flue. Next, it has to sends a signal from the heat exchanger to here, which is, sorry about that, I got knocked off, I'm back. So I was telling you guys that this guy here, which is the inducer motor, sends a signal here to the pressure switch, which is this big guy here. That lets the furnace know that there's no blockage through here. There is, circulation. You want to always have this hooked up. After that, this guy lets everything right here know that it's okay to go. So next, you'll see what we have is the igniter. Let me get my flashlight now. Hang on 1 second, bear with me. What did I do with it here? Let's see. I'll just cut it off on the phone. Oh, can't use it. Let's see. Hang on, we'll get it. Kind of sitting down, a little lazy after work. Okay, so now I'll show you guys the igniter, which is right back in here. The battery would be getting low. That is the igniter there. That glows and turns orange. Then we have the next sequence. Once that glows and gets bright enough, it will turn on the furnace. Let the gas know it's time to come out. It'll come through that guy. you'll hear a hiss, and then you'll see some fire. Now, after you see the fire, there is another piece in here. I don't know if you can see it. I'm gonna have to get my flashlight again. That is the flame sensor. It goes into a wiring harness here, which, delivers the message to the board, and it lets it know, hey, there is fire. When you're testing it with a meter, you'll want to put it at, let's see, wrong setting here. You'll want to set it to UA, and down at the bottom you will get what is a 0.04 milliamps. It should run 4 milliamps. If it's running up and down, you might want to check or clean your flame sensor. There is an issue there if it's not reading right or above 4 milliamps. So now we've got flame, we've got everything kicking. Let's say this guy decides to shut down, and what will happen, it will give you codes. This guy here, if the high limit switch is kicked, which is into here, and I'll give you guys a better look of what that does and how it works. The flame that goes into the heat exchanger is surrounded by that. That is the whole actual high limit switch right there sitting inside of there. If these guys, one of these 3 exchangers, or all pretty much, are too hot, you will have what's called a shutdown. When it gets too hot, it will shut down for about 3 hours, recycle itself, and come back on. If there is a problem like that occurring, you may want to check your duct work for ventilation issues. If you have an AC coil, you'll want to check that to make sure it's not clogged up. There's many things it can be. Maybe your blower, which is, I don't know if you can see it down in there. I'm going to put the light down in there real quick. Shine it right there. If you can see it right there. That's the blower squirrel cage. If it's all dirty, which is, this one is pretty good and cleaned. I had cleaned this one for a individual before I took it out and replaced it. It was having some problems that are not to be explained right now. That's why we're working on our rebuild on it. Next we have the, let's see, what didn't I explain to you guys? I think I pretty much explained everything. And this is, like I said, this is a sequence, how it's worked. I'm gonna go through all the parts again. This is an inducer motor. It's for ventilation of the exhaust, so you don't have carbon dioxide coming into your home. This is a pressure switch, which lets you know that it's getting pushed out through this exhaust pipe here. This is the high limit switch. If it gets too hot, it'll shut down. This is also a secondary high limit switch, which has been cut. Not sure why, but something happened there. This is the motherboard on the actual unit. This is where everything goes through, the signals, all that. This is how this thing operates. This is the door switch, which is important to not bypass, because if there's a wire off somewhere and you pull this door off, you can possibly be shocked, injured, or possibly killed. So I wouldn't dare, have that any other way. Those are your pilots. I didn't explain those, but I sort of kind of explained them. This is where the gas goes through to make the actual flame through the hole there, which jumps into the heat exchanger port back there. You have your, let me see, your igniter on this one. That's your igniter there. That's gonna glow orange when you get ignition. That's your flame sensor. Your flame sensor is what's gonna let you know that, okay, this thing is working. Either I mean, if it doesn't, you'll know. The flame will jump on and jump right back off. These are the basic things of the furnace. One more. The transformer, which converts electricity to low voltage. Stay tuned for the next video. In the next one, we will be explaining how to rebuild this thing. What parts to clean, what parts to, change, if any at all. I'll give you guys a rundown on what was wrong with this furnace. The actual little fuse there, that little guy there, it was in one of my apartment units, and we went back to it numerous amount of times because this little guy just kept blowing. Even after new boards and all this other stuff we put on it, it just kept going. So, we figured we just change it out, and I could rebuild it and make it into another unit. See what we can do. But yes, please stay tuned. I will have more videos coming out soon. Different things. We're gonna probably try some new things soon. To get my followers up and everything and all that. Please stay tuned. Thank you. Why's the damn dog barking again? This is the flame sensor. Once this guy senses that there's fire, it sends back through the board to the brain, which is, I'll show you guys these wires here. It goes into a wiring harness